This is Pinky, hostess of In the Pink, co-host of Chicks on Wrestling. When I am not recording, I am listening to the one and only Unlimited Radio on 247.net.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Lowdown Radio, again only on Unlimited Radio 247.net. And welcome back to another very special episode of Lowdown Radio. And we're going to have the one and only Renegade of Wrestling, Mr. J.J. Williams, live on Lowdown this evening. We're going to talk a little bit about him, get to know him just a little bit. This is going to be the first of 4 special shows that we're going to have here on Lowdown with the Casa Day 18 crew. And we're going to have the leader of Casa Day 18, Mr. J.J. Williams, live this evening. So what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen, like always, we got to make sure those sponsors are happy. We're going to go ahead and take our quick break, and when we come back, we're going to have the one and only Mr. J.J. Williams live on Lowdown Radio.
This is Jade.
And this is Pinky, and we are Chicks on Wrestling. When we're not filming,
we listen to
Unlimited Radio 247.net.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Lowdown Radio, and please help me welcome the one and only J.J. Williams. What's up, buddy?
Not much. How's it going, Shawn?
Oh, man, rocking and rolling today, man. Had one of those days, it's like, just crumble it up, throw it away, put it down the garbage disposal, flush it down the toilet, whatever you got to do, but, get rid of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Sometimes you have those, and you just got to shake it off and keep moving forward.
Absolutely, and that's exactly what we've done with Unlimited Radio, and obviously with our merger and everything, we'll definitely touch a little bit about that as well. And but what I would really like to do is really get to obviously my listeners that I have every week, and the Unlimited Radio fans that have always tuned in for the past almost 2 years now. I can't believe it's been that long, but. Kind of let everyone know a little bit about you, where did this all start, and a little bit about J.J. Williams.
Okay, well, this all started for myself also a couple of years ago, as far as Renegade of Wrestling and Casa D18 Studios and whatnot goes. I had been a wrestling fan since about the summer of '98. And got into it, right there in the heat of the Attitude Era. I dabbled a little bit prior to the Casa D18 Studios getting started in shows in the past, and it just wasn't successful, wasn't really able to get the ball rolling, so to speak, but decided to give it another try here, and, things have been going really good for me.
Fantastic. Now, obviously, everybody that, has been seeing your show and everything know that on your show you cover a lot of the indies, and recently, we've had the honor or not so honor of actually going to some of these shows, and obviously, we've got our favorites in particular, but, that's one thing that, I mean, would you not agree that indies where it all starts, basically?
Definitely, especially, these days with the territories basically being non-existent. Independent wrestling is where it all begins again, Everybody always gives me crap on my show for covering the indies and, why won't you cover WWE and why don't you cover TNA? And it's like, you guys just need to seriously take a step back and realize the fact that, your WWE champion of 389 days, Mr. CM Punk, didn't get shit out of Vince McMahon's ass. He came through the independents, IWA Mid-South, Ring of Honor, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla out here in California. He came through all these different federations before he finally got his big break. Same with Austin Aries, who was TNA champion. He came through Ring of Honor. He was out here in NWA Hollywood. PWG and a bunch of other feds. Evan Bourne, another ROH standout, is Matt Sydal. Worked for Dragon Gate over in Japan. All these guys, that you're seeing these days don't have the benefit of a territory system like your Hogans, your Michaels, your Harts did, so they've got to do the next best thing, and that's the indies. So if you focus on these indies, the next time you turn on your television set, you might see the guy that you were just cheering in front of 50 people at your local armory.
Right. Right. Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, California is very rich as far as pro wrestling talent. But one thing I've noticed as well is obviously the women out here in California too have been, getting a very good push. I mean, a la Melina, prime example.
Mm-hmm.
Arguably, probably one of the most successful from out here in California. You've
Sarah?
got right, absolutely. You got Awesome Kong. That was another one that also started out here with the Empire Wrestling Federation. Layla is another one that, I mean, I could just keep naming a bunch, and that's one thing I really want to push is that people don't understand that wrestling's everywhere. It's not just WWE, TNA, ROH, Shimmer, the big ones. I mean, it's everywhere, and you could see some awesome shows for just as cheap for taking someone on a date.
Seriously, if you do what good old David Otunga says and Google indie wrestling, chances are you'll find a federation near where you live that you can go and check out for $10.
Right.
And more often than not, those guys, may not be the same type of match caliber as a WWE, but they work a lot harder too. Not in the fact that they're on the road, as much as WWE does, but they go out there and they put literally their bodies on the line with no mats, no padding or anything, and they just go out there for the sheer love of doing it and to impress the 10, 15, 150, 200 people that are in the crowd that night.
Right.
They don't care.
Right. And some of the groups that I've seen, and there's good and bad in indie wrestling. There's the shows that are very well put together, very not scripted. That's not the appropriate word, but
organized?
very. I'm sorry.
Organized.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Empire Wrestling Federation, prime example. Apex Pro, that's another example out here in California. Battleground, absolutely. Massive Wrestling. I can name a few more, but there's a few out there that I just kind of scratch my head about. It's like I just don't understand that. I just don't get it. Groups that let the kids run in the ring. God forbid one of them jumps on a rope, topples over, and goes head first into the concrete on the floor. Then what?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
those are probably the same people that grew up hearing the stories about how, Rey Mysterio and Chavo Guerrero would get in the ring and start goofing around during the intermission to where people wouldn't even go out to buy popcorn during the break and merchandise. They'd end up staying to watch these little kids in the ring rolling around because they were so entertaining. These parents probably think that their kids can be the next Rey Mysterio and Chavo Guerrero, and they're doing the same thing.
Right, absolutely. Well, obviously, this show is, we kind of got a little sidetracked there. I mean, when I get that topic going, good Lord. But let's get to know a little bit about you. How did everything start with you? I mean, because I do know you got a little bit of a radio history. Is that correct?
Yeah, when I was going to Long Beach City College back in the mid to late 90s, I was on their radio station, KLBC, 1500, and then it moved to 1700 on the AM dial, and now it's internet radio. But I dabbled in there because I love music. That's my escape a lot of the times. Even before wrestling came into the picture, music was my escape. You're just having a crappy day, you slip away into your music and disappear for a while.
Okay.
So I saw that they had a radio station, and I was like, I want to give this a try, get my mic skills down, get better at talking to people, play whatever I want to play and expose people to, and, it just kind of cut my teeth there.
Right. Yeah. I could understand that. Yeah, and I got my first start with KCAA in San Bernardino, and every week I had to make that trip all the way down to San Bernardino. Talk about a sucky drive.
Yeah, I've driven from Long Beach to San Bernardino a couple times, and it's not a nice drive.
No, it's not. Stop and go. And for those of you that do not have stop and go traffic a la Midwest, I'll people in Florida say they have bad traffic. Come on, let's see you go 30 miles in a matter of 2.5 hours, and then we could talk about bad traffic.
Right.
But obviously, you got that college education, and obviously, you got everything going on with Casa Day 18. But I mean, what really got the Casa Day 18 idea come about? How did that whole thing come about?
Honestly, it came about just as a fluke. Me and my buddy Jeff Meacham, former host of Talk Wrestling After the Bell, were kind of kicking around ideas, because we were basically filming our shows in the apartment. It was like, what could be a cool little nickname for all this? And it was like, well, we live in Casa D18, so why not just call it Casa D18 Studios? And it was like, that could work. So we just kind of, went with that, and then we had 2 shows on the channel originally, Renegade of Wrestling and Dad's on Wrestling, and come August of last year, we expanded and added more shows to where we were basically having a show every day of the week, which is how After the Bell came into play. That's where Stat Boy Rants came from. Ringside Insanity at the time, which was Jade's first exposure to the channel. And all these things started going and just kind of turned into its own little entity, really.
Right. Well, I don't know if you want to consider it little, truth be told. I mean, there's quite a bit of followers out there. Obviously, you've got a lot of awesome fans that love to send you guys questions and love to talk to you guys and everything. And, I'm very blessed to be able to have such wonderful folks like yourself and Beth and Jade and Mike, and you guys are awesome people, and it's really cool when we can all work together as one, and you see exactly what we've got happening. And for those of you that have not seen these videos, please make sure you check them out on YouTube, youtube.com/Renegade of Wrestling. Is that correct, JJ? Did I get that right?
That's correct.
Okay, and also Unlimited Radio, you can check them out in the blogs and vlogs section. You can go ahead and check them out. We got everybody listed there, and check out all the blogs and the blogs. And man, it's just been booming busy lately. And we're working on something pretty major. I don't want to release it just quite yet. We're still confirming things, but I will let you know that it's going to be a possible former ECW heavyweight champion might be coming up here with JJ in the upcoming weeks. You pretty excited about that one, maybe, JJ?
Yeah, if we can get everything, all the T's crossed and the I's dotted, that'll be really cool for me. I'm looking forward to that.
Absolutely, yeah. I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, holy cow, that's a big one. That's a biggie. Yeah. So make sure you guys keep checking that out. But what I'm going to do, JJ, is I'm going to have a little fun now with you, just a little bit, and we're going to do a little word association.
Uh-oh.
Okay, and I'm going to say something that just pops into my mind.
Okay.
And I want you to tell me the first thing that comes to your mind. Okay.
Okay.
Ex-girlfriends.
That's a tough one. Good terms?
Good terms. Okay. Fair enough. Massive wrestling.
Heart.
Okay. Jade Hogan.
Cripple.
It's okay to be honest.
Cripple.
That's horrible.
She loves that nickname. She tells everybody to call her that herself, so it's not that bad.
That's horrible. That's wow. Okay. Beth.
Crazy.
Okay. Let's see here. WWE booking.
Horseshit.
Okay, elaborate a little bit on that. Why is it as you say, horse shit.
Okay, you've got the Shield and this great gimmick that you've got going on right now, and they're supposed to be presenting themselves as this dominant force out there to do justice, and after 1 or 2, maybe even 3 weeks of coming out there and just dominating, you basically send Ryback out there a couple weeks ago when Punk got injured and have them more or less get annihilated in one fell swoop, to where they've more or less lost all their momentum as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
You know, that's just horrible. It's like the Shield is supposed to be, you know, feasibly the new Nexus, if you will, the new NWO out there to take over, and you send your single-man wrecking crew, who's a bigger botch fest than Sin Cara out there, end up injuring the WWE champion and totally killing the momentum of these guys.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I scratched my head a little bit too, and you know, and I was really becoming a pretty good fan of TNA for a little while, and then this last pay-per-view we saw on Sunday, I'm going. I understand they're trying to do some things differently, but Jesus Christ, did it confuse the hell out of me.
Yeah, that TNA pay-per-view almost put me to sleep.
It literally did for me. If it wasn't for Chucho being as awesome as he is.
Right?
And for those of you that doesn't know who Chucho is, Chucho's the mascot for Unlimited Radio, my awesome Cocker Spaniel, and he's phenomenal. He's an awesome dog. JJ, I don't know if doesn't think so though.
Aww.
Yeah, I gotta throw you on the bus. You didn't become friendly with the guy. He was trying to get some love.
Yeah, I don't have any issues with dogs or anything. I just don't like them climbing all over me.
That's true.
Thing.
He's a very, very friendly pup. Absolutely. So, a second ago we were talking about Jade and Pinky, and let's talk a little bit about them. What is it like to not only live with those two, but working with those two?
Honestly, it's a riot. It really is. You know, Pinky always comes, you know, ready with her game face on. She's always one of the first ones to sit down on show days with her notebook, ready to jot down important material that she may need for the show and whatnot. Jade is getting to that point. She's getting a lot better at it. Back in the days when she first started, she didn't want any part of homework. You know, she was real lazy. I don't know exactly why. You know, maybe she felt like she was pressured to, but in time she's gotten a lot better with it. So, you know, but they're both like really good team players now. They're always willing to step up to the challenge. I mean, a couple weeks ago, I had them do a whole big, well, it's probably about a month and a half ago actually, a whole big thing on the screw job, where they sat down and they watched all kinds of different interviews and, you know, Shawn's story, Brett's story, the Brett versus Shawn DVD, the actual match, Wrestling with Shadows, and they did all this homework so that they could sit down there for the 15th anniversary of the Montreal screw job and do like a, you know, 15 years later type of deal.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I remember watching that video. That was very, very well done on both of their parts, honestly. Beth and Jade, you know, I honestly think they work very, very well together. You got the happy-go-lucky, energetic, loud, boisterous Beth, and you got Jade, and you know she's really coming to her own as well, and busting out of that shell, and you know she's getting really, really good. And I don't know who came up with that whole dimple thing pointing at the cheeks gimmick of hers, but that's an amazing idea. I don't know who came up with that one.
Yeah, I don't know either. It wasn't me.
What, you don't approve?
Huh?
You don't approve on that one?
Nah.
Oh, okay. Well, what would you have preferred that she would have done differently then?
I don't know. It just seems kind of over the top and cheesy for me.
Okay.
But it's something, it's something for her to do. She always was saying, Beth has this long introduction for herself, and it was like, yeah, I'm Jade. I'm here. But at least she's got something now.
Right. Absolutely. And what's next with the Casa? I mean, obviously, we've got Unlimited Radio and we got everything that's going on with that, but is there any big projects down the road that you guys are working on hard together?
Well, right now, in addition to our regular daily shows that we're putting out, we're also re-highlighting, if you will, episodes that we did around the holidays last year where we talk about, our favorite Christmas movies, Christmas TV specials, Christmas songs. So we've been re-highlighting some of those, and then Beth has been filming all new episodes since she wasn't part of the channel back then.
Okay.
We're hoping that when the new year comes, we'll be able to start getting maybe a little bit better production value, some good interviews coming in, that type of stuff. But aside from the holiday thing that we're kind of in the middle of right now, there's nothing really grand on the horizon just yet. We haven't really gotten that far yet.
Okay. And have the views gone up a little bit since you guys have joined up with Unlimited Radio?
A little bit, yeah. There's that interest factor. The last big one that we had, I think, was the pay-per-view.
Okay.
Those always usually generate a lot of interest even before we hooked up with Unlimited Radio, but it seemed like we got even more of a spike with the hookup and the merge, so.
Right.
Hopefully the ones we put up this weekend for TLC will be even better, so.
Well, I tell you what, it can't be much worse than TNA's pay-per-view. I'll tell you that, man. Oh, I hope WWE really comes out with a bang, because obviously they got the fans got a little screwed, unfortunately, with Punk's injury, and I'm hearing rumors that, and this is again one of the things I'm scratching my head about, that Punk and Ryback is going to have their heavyweight title match on Raw when he comes back. I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't get it either. Punk said last night on Raw that his next opponent is Dwayne, so that's where his eyes are focused to. So I don't know why they would take any more of a risk when Ryback already injured Punk and take the risk of possibly further injuring or re-injuring him when he's trying to move into a big money match like The Rock.
Right.
That's just a horrible, another horseshit booking idea.
Absolutely. I remember you and I talking about Vince Russo not that long ago, and I remember I had I had an opinion about him, and I thought he was a bunch of shit, and I didn't like it. But now that I look back at it, at least his bookings made sense in most cases.
They did when he had Vince as a restraint. When Russo and Ed Ferrara were going to Vince McMahon's house and, running everything by Vince prior to the tapings, and he had that, wall that he sometimes had to get through, his stuff was on fire. The whole DX invasion, a lot of those things, the Nation of Domination, a lot of that stuff that Vince Russo was doing, the rise of Austin, the rise of The Rock, he even admitted that Mick Foley was never supposed to be WWF champion, that was him and Ed listening to the demand of the fans and how into Mankind they were coming off of the Survivor Series Deadly Game and the mocking of the screw job 1 year later, that made them start to scratch their heads and be like, hey, the fans really want this. We should, throw a curveball and actually give this to them. because they wanted so bad, and it was a one of the highest rated shows they did.
Right.
You know, so he's definitely had his moments. Now, when he went to WCW, you know, and even some of his TNA stuff is definitely questionable, but he didn't have that, you know, roadblock in Vince McMahon to help keep him level. You know, That I think was his biggest problem once he left the WWF, and I think that's why he gets a bit of a bad rap from people.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably right. You're probably right. And Eric Bischoff, you know, he was another individual that was kind of a wild card in the whole entire thing. And you're absolutely right. You know, he wasn't a Vince McMahon with WCW, and I think the combination between Eric Bischoff and Russo, I honestly think the combination of both of them is what made WCW run into the ground.
Yeah, that's definitely, you know, a part of it. I mean, continuing to highlight the guys that were in the golden twilight years of their career was a big mistake. You know, not putting the attention on the cruiserweights and taking the spotlight off of them, having some of the cruiserweights unmask and lose some of their mystique was a huge issue. You know, having guys come out one week and be a baby face, and then they come out the next week and they're a heel, and then they come out the next week and they're a face again, definitely, you know, added fuel to the fire. Then you add in things like David Arquette, WCW champion,
yeah,
Vince Russo, WCW champion, you know, tag team matches with Jay Leno and Karl Malone, and it's like, seriously?
Oh, can't forget Dennis Rodman.
True. The Worm himself, you know. And it's like, seriously, you can't, you know, throw a better match on TV than this? You know, the No Limit Soldiers. Oh, my God. Like, I was a huge hip-hop fan back in the day when that was going on, and I was even a fan of No Limit. But when they started that whole angle, I was like, oh, my God. Get this off of the television. Seriously.
Well, you know, obviously, you and I both are big wrestling fans. And who was your favorite growing up? I mean, did you have one that you thought was like, wow?
Well, you have to remember, I got into wrestling, like I said earlier, about summer of '98, the Attitude Era. So I was, you know, already in my 20s.
Okay.
You know, I was a real late comer to wrestling because I was always one of those guys, oh, this is fake. Why are you watching a bunch of oiled up men in their underwear? This is so gay and lame. And my buddies, you know, were like, look, have you ever watched it? It's like, no, not really. They're like, okay, go home and watch it tonight and come back tomorrow and see if you have the same opinion. And I came back the next day and I was like, dude, did you see what happened? Like all caught up in it because it was a great time to become a wrestling fan. But back when I came into it, my favorites were obviously The Rock. I saw it in him before he became champion. I saw he was going to do big things. I loved Rey Mysterio and his style. I loved, and I still love, New Jack from ECW. I always got a kick out of his gimmick and how his music would continue to play while he was wrestling. I just thought that was a great shtick. It was like nobody else was doing that.
Right. He had his own little deal.
You'd hear that missile go off and the music started playing, and it would not stop until the match was over, whether he won or lost. You know, it was just a great gimmick. I like Tommy Dreamer, Raven.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of those guys.
Yeah, I miss the old ECW days, and even till this day, I'll still, you know, pull out the old ECW VHS tapes, and I still got a VHS DVD combo, and I'll watch the VHS stuff sometimes. And yeah, I really miss that time when it was just like, you know, them wrestling in those different venues, and it was oh my God, the wrestling was so awesome back then.
Yeah, it was. I mean, somewhere around the Casa, I've got a copy of Heatwave 2000, the pay-per-view they did at the Olympic out here. I was actually at that show.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
It was pretty awesome getting to see them live the one time they came to L.A. and SoCal.
Yeah, I mean that. I bet you that was an awesome pay-per-view. I think I'll have to watch that next time I make a trip on down there.
Definitely, definitely. That was the night of the XPW invasion where they tried to come in and start stuff.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I remember that now. Okay.
I'm sure a lot of people have heard tale about that. But yeah, when I first got into wrestling, it was the flashy showman type of guys that caught my eye. Jeff Hardy was another one, and the Hardy Boys. And as I got more and more into wrestling, I stopped paying attention as much to the flashy type guys, and I started to really focus on the wrestlers. The Chris Benoits, the Dean Malenkos, the Chris Jerichos, the Kurt Angles, those type of guys. The Eddie Guerreros who could, do a little bit of flash and show, but also get down there and get technical with you too. Those
right.
type of guys really started catching my eye after the light bulb started to burn out a little bit on the flashy guys.
Right. Yeah, that's one thing I remember with the ECW days was that they were just balls to the wall. I'll never forget the crazy Sabu. I mean, Jesus Christ, the stuff that guy did, man.
Yeah.
And I remember one time, I don't remember the pay-per-view, but it was him coming to the ring, and he had his trademark head, the head stuff that he always wore, the because he played the whole Arab kind of character kind of guy.
Right.
And he had the whole head thing, and I remember a fan actually taking it off his head. And that's one thing you don't do. Anybody listening, and you screw with the wrestler and you touch them or you grab any part of their clothing or whatever, be forewarned, because you're gonna get your head handed to you.
Definitely. They always tell you, keep your hands off the wrestlers, regardless of what happens. And, there's been a couple times at indie shows where, the baby face will bring the heel around and, let a fan get a chop in on them. But aside from that, it's keep your hands to yourself type of deal, unless you really, really, really want to get your butt kicked.
Right. Well, speaking of butt kicking, there's obviously a group that you and I are very, very fond of, and that's Battleground Pro Wrestling. And
yes,
tell everybody a little bit about Battleground and what's happening with Battleground. Obviously, current champs. For those of the people on the East Coast that haven't been following Battleground, kind of let everyone in on a little bit about what's happening with the feuds and everything.
All right, well, let me see if I can remember some of the stuff, because unfortunately there hasn't been a show since Pinky's Playhouse in October. They unfortunately had to cancel the November one due to venue issues and double bookings. But your Battleground heavyweight champion right now is Pinky, the leader of the Nobodies.
Boo!
I gotta say, I love the Pinky gimmick, and I especially love the Nobody gimmick. It's getting so over with the fans that either the whole group's going to have to turn babyface, or they're going to have to go extreme to get some heel heat. I mean, there were people at the Pinky's Playhouse Halloween show dressed up like nobodies. They've gotten that over. Myself included. I'll admit I was one of the ones there dressed like a nobody, but there were others there other than me, probably a good handful of people.
Right.
Let me see. The Ring Warrior champion, I believe, is still Extreme Loco. He's doing a good job dominating and decimating the entire Ring Warrior division, which, for those of you out there, like, Shawn said, that don't really get to follow Battleground, Ring Warrior is basically their cruiserweight / X division type of title. But he's right now seriously dominating that division and beating all comers, and I think he even had a battle royal at the last show where he defeated like every Ring Warrior that they have right now. So it's going to be interesting to see where that goes. From here after beating everybody. What are they going to bring in to stop him? The tag champions. That's an interesting scenario, because I know it was the Commandos, and then they didn't show up, and the Derevko brothers declared themselves champions, but are they really champions? And I'm still not really sure how that one is going.
Right.
I believe that's all the titles.
Yep, that sounds like about it. And actually, you know what? We do have a special person that looks like they just called in. I think I might know this guy. I'm not quite sure, but caller from area code 323. Who is this?
Well, you should know my voice by now, man. I mean, come on now. Come on, Shawn. You should know who this is by now. It's not too hard to figure it out.
Oh, Mr. Sam Knight. Sam Knight, the guy that moved away. That's right.
Yeah. Nice to hear your voice too. JJ, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, bro. How's it going?
Pretty good.
How's the Dirty South treating you?
All is well on this end, man. I'll say that much. I was listening to the show, and I just felt compelled because, of course, Shawn is going to go on this whole thing about talking Battleground Pro Wrestling. You can't talk Battleground Pro Wrestling without mentioning me or some of the other great talent. Not the champions, some of the other great talent. Not taking anything away from the champions because we have great champions, but you can't make a show without other talent, too.
This is very true.
You made a comment about them bringing somebody in to take down the Ring Warrior champion, Extreme Loco. JJ, if you remember at Pinky's Playhouse, the last person that Extreme Loco faced was me.
Mm-hmm.
He never beat me.
This is very true.
So with that being said, Extreme Loco's got a target on him, and I just happen to be the shooter that wants to take him out.
All right.
And speaking of targets, Shawn, I caught your promo that was on Facebook. Shawn Black states that the Black Knights are no more. There won't be a reunion, no hugs. 2013 is the year of Shawn Black. He said this isn't like Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels. And what for some reason, I kept rewinding the video. And Shawn, what I saw is you wanted to find out if you and him were on the same team. If you and him were the same, or were good, if you guys were okay. Why does it matter?
Why does it matter? I mean, what do you mean? Why does it matter?
Shawn, think about it. Think about it. It doesn't make any sense to me. Why would you want to align yourself? Ask some guy, some fool who has stuff.
Whoa! Hold up.
Let me speak. Some fool who decides to shove food in his mouth at the end of his promo. Some guy that nobody, not even the nobodies, takes seriously. Why would you want to align yourself with somebody like that?
Because, for one, he hasn't turned his back to me. You're the one that moved away. You're the one that turned your back to everybody else.
I'm sorry, Shawn. First of all, no, I didn't turn my back on anyone else. It's just wrestling. If you want to take it personal, I'm sending a hug 3,000 miles away. I'm sorry, bro. As far as everybody else is concerned, everybody else understood why I left Los Angeles. Everyone else understood why I took what I called my ball and ran along with it. But it doesn't mean I stopped. See, you are totally forgetting why the Black Knights had so much success. It wasn't just because of me, and it wasn't just because of Shawn. It's because of a unit. We were a unit that took down half the roster tag team-wise. JJ, I'm sorry, this isn't me trying to take over your interview time. I know that you guys have a lot to talk about. I just wanted to get this cleared out.
No worries, dude. I mean, y'all were the Battleground Tag Team of the Year last year, and you didn't even win the straps.
See, I just want to get this cleared so that everybody knows what's going on. Shawn, if there's some type of issue that you have with me being gone, you know how to contact me. You don't have to get in contact, or you don't have to go in and try to align yourself with a guy who is slowly making his rise to the top. Where Shawn Black is, I've been, I've stomped, and I have succeeded all over. You want to go to Lucha Pro? Look at my track record in Lucha Pro. Ran Rashad through it. You want to talk about Battleground Pro Wrestling? Shawn is still in my shadow.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
So, good luck. Good luck, Mr. Shawn Kloth. I hope that you find all your dreams. As a matter of fact, I wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors when it comes to Shawn Black. But I promise you, just like I promised everybody else, when I do return to L.A., I have no problem slapping you as hard as I'm going to slap him.
Yeah, okay. Sure. Well, you can run your mouth all you want, bro. You know what? Goodbye. That's a bunch of bullshit. Sorry about that. Sorry about that, JJ. That's a bunch of crap. He had no right to call in and turn over this whole interview. That's a bunch of crap. Sorry about that. And sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry. That's just stupidity on his end. And yeah, he deserves to stay out there and wherever the hell he is. So anyway, so obviously JJ, with everything going on with Unlimited Radio and Casa Day 18 and we got a lot of interesting people coming up, and I'm really excited to interview the rest of the crew.
Yeah, definitely. I know they're all looking forward to it too. I know you got Stat Boy this coming Saturday, and then Beth a week from tonight, Jade a week from tonight, and then Beth a week from Saturday. So I know they're all really, really looking forward to that too.
Yeah, I'm really
looking
forward to that. I'm sorry, bro. I didn't mean to cut you off. What was that?
Oh, it's all good. I said it's been a lot of the talk around here is the interviews and the exposure that we're hoping to be able to get for both our station and the website and everything, the shows through the interviews. So it's been a hot topic around here.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, especially getting to know Jade and obviously my good friend Beth and Mike as well. I'm really looking forward to all that, and it's going to be very interesting. You never know what might be discussed on those shows.
Definitely, and I'm looking forward to listening in to all of them too.
Absolutely. And, ladies and gentlemen, again, I've said this once and I'll say it again. For those of you that have not seen Casa Day 18 videos, please do yourself a favor. Go check them out because they are extremely entertaining. Beth is absolutely awesome. Jade is awesome as well. And, Mike with his rants and JJ, covering the thing, WWE and indie stuff. And you guys are missing out because you guys are missing out on a wonderful group of shows. And JJ, I really appreciate everything, man, with everything you've done for the station as well as helping promote us. And where can your fan or my fans and your new fans find you, and where can they keep up with Casa Day 18?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at ROWJJWilliams. You can find me on Facebook.com/JJWilliamsWrestling. That's my work page that's got the links to all the other crew and the show pages and whatnot. I have 2 fan pages on Facebook, one for myself, the Renegade Wrestling JJ Williams, and then one for the show, Renegade Wrestling. And then, of course, you can subscribe to the channel Casa Day 18 Studios on youtube.com/Renegade of Wrestling, as well as going to unlimitedradio247.net every day, Monday through Friday, to catch the daily shows up there.
Absolutely. And JJ, actually, it looks like we just got another caller that just called in here. Let's go ahead and take this caller. Caller from the area code 252. Caller, you're live with JJ Williams.
Good evening, JJ and Shawn. This is Corey from over on the East Coast in North Carolina. How you folks doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
What's up, Corey?
Not much. I just wanted to get a quick call in before the show went off to let you guys know I've been enjoying the show, listening in to you and whatnot. And the phone call from the jackass, that was really uncalled for and unclassy. I just want to say that. But like Shawn was saying, I'm getting ready to and going to enjoy listening to the rest of the Casa Day 18 gang when they get their interview time. I can't wait to hear what they're going to say and what might happen when those shows finally get on air. I'm sure it's going to be a complete blast.
Yeah, I'm hoping so, man. I'm hoping that all the other interviews go as smoothly as this one did. Shawn, thank you so much for allowing me to come onto your show. It's been a really great show, aside from that one phone call. But,
No, I'm sorry, man. Idiots are going to be idiots, and there's unfortunately nothing I can do or anybody can do. We just got to move on, like you said, and for those of you that don't know Shawn Black, Shawn's been a very good friend of mine, and you know what? He hasn't done anything to me. I don't know what the hell's going on between both of them, and whatever, man. But Shawn's been cool, and I got his back. Not to worry on that one. But yeah, Corey, did you have any other questions for JJ other than that this evening?
Here's one thing. As far as, and this is from me because I am on the East Coast, I don't get a chance a lot of times to see any of the promotions out on the West Coast. But other than Battleground, is there one that you think I may be interested in looking into? Because I have followed PWG for a while, but I was trying to get my repertoire of West Coast promotions built up a bit just to have a variety of what I usually see over here on the East Coast.
Well, PWG is definitely one of the biggest ones out here. They always have some top-tier talent, both SoCal grown and ROH fly-ins. And if you go back to their really, really early shows, you get some TNA guys like AJ Styles, Samoa Joe. Even CM Punk appeared on a few of their early shows. So that's definitely one to look into if you want to see a lot of good SoCal indie wrestling. AWS is another good one, the Alternative Wrestling Show.
Absolutely.
I know they release DVDs of their shows, and I've been to a couple of them, including the world record-breaking 100-and-something man battle royal that they had before they closed up doors, and they've reopened since then. But I was at that show, and another one that featured Shelly Martinez. EWF, I know, puts out DVDs of some of their shows, so that would be another good one to look into. Trying to think of ones that I know for a fact actually release DVDs. Okay. I know UPW, Ultimate Pro Wrestling, you can find some of their DVDs online. They haven't been in business for a while, and their school brought up guys like John Cena and Victoria and Melina and a bunch of those type of people. The Miz came through there. Brian Kendrick, Frankie Kazarian, Samoa Joe. So you can find some of those old DVDs also. And you'll see some other guys that are still on the indie scene and guys that have made their big break since then.
Okay, well, I will definitely check those out. Appreciate that.
No, all right, Corey.
I'm going to get going here, and thank you very much for letting me get the chance to talk to you guys. Appreciate it, and you have a good evening.
You also, too. Corey. Yeah, there you go, man. That was the partner of mine, man. Good Lord. Oh, you got the management listening to you. I don't know.
Hey.
I wonder if the FCC contacted them. Who knows?
Who knows? May have been that rogue phone call.
Oh, God. I just lost my appetite. Thanks for that.
Anytime.
Oh, God, really? You had to go there, really?
Really?
Anyway, but again, thank you again, JJ, for everything. I really appreciate it, and there's a lot of big things happening for us, man, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen with us next, man.
Yeah, me too. I'm looking forward to 2013 being even bigger than 2012 was. My resolution every year since I've gotten into pro wrestling is to see more and more shows and get more exposed to more and more different types of product. There's still a lot of feds out here in SoCal that I haven't gotten to see yet, and even a few up in NorCal that I'd really like to check out. I'd like to check out APW in one of their Gym Wars shows. I'd like to check out Hood Slam and DMW, Devil Mountain Wrestling. So hopefully it can get out to a few of those in the next year also.
Yeah, Pro Wrestling Bushido as well. Good friend of Lowdown Radio, Savannah Riley. She's up there as well as Bobby Hart and the whole crew up there too. So, Timothy Thatcher is another big wrestler up there. Johnny Goodtime wrestles up there. So you got a lot of the Southern California guys you're familiar with as well. So,
anytime I get a chance. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say I could see a road trip definitely in our future.
Yeah, I was going to say anytime I get to heckle Timothy Thatcher, a.k.a. Sergeant Pepper, the nickname I gave to him at NWA Hollywood, it's a good day, Tater.
Damn it, JJ, really?
Hey, all the fans the first time we saw him started jumping on the Captain Crunch bandwagon. I was like, nah, dude, he looks like the cover of Sergeant Pepper. So I got that going, and sure enough, it is living in infamy.
Oh God! Oh man, that's awesome. I needed that. Thank you very much for that. That was really good.
Not a problem.
All right, man. Well, have a fantastic evening. Thank you very much, and as always, I got your back, brother.
Thank you very much for having me. I look forward to listening to your upcoming interviews with the rest of the Casa and whoever else you've got lined up for the fans.
Absolutely, man. Well, have a good night, bro.
You too.
All right, bye-bye. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was the one and only J.J. Williams from Casa Day 18 Studios. And again, make sure you keep checking them out on our website as well as the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Renegade of Wrestling. Make sure you check them out and see all the happenings and what's going on with the crew. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Lowdown Radio Show. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. Make sure you tune in tomorrow night. We got indie wrestling superstar Jules Malone, and we're going to have her on this show tomorrow evening, and we're going to talk a little bit about her wrestling, and we're going to be talking about what's happening with her as well. We're also going to be debuting the Heart Legacy Wrestling Radio. We're going to debut this upcoming Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we're going to be talking about that as well. They got an upcoming show, and we're going to be talking about the talent that's going to be with them. And we got Mike Caldwell coming up on Saturday, a.k.a. Stat Boy, so we're going to have him coming up, and that's going to be quite the interview as well. I'm very interested to conduct that interview with him. So, ladies and gentlemen, again, this has been Lowdown Radio. Thank you very much for tuning in, and make sure you tune in tomorrow night again at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time with the one and only Jules Malone. Thank you very much, and have a fantastic rest of your evening.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages? This is the Renegade of Wrestling, J.J. Williams, and when I'm not busy inside of the Casa D18 studios, I'm listening to UnlimitedRadio247.net.